God's timing isn't always our timing. He may not work things out the way we plan, but still, He is working things out for better.
The COVID-19 pandemic has really changed everything around the world, from our basic routinary way of living to celebration of big events, has suddenly switched to new normal, especially in the Department of Education.
This pandemic has affected many aspects of our lives beyond recognition. Nothing could have ever prepared us from this. And I am forever grateful that we made it through this year without any major problems despite of the adjustments and sacrifices that we made. People were throwing themselves into risk, possibly putting their life in danger. Learners are not able to live up to their true academic potential.
Teachers have faced difficulties in training and cultivating the knowledge of their students in this setup. Even so, we pulled through these trying times and achieved everything we set in our minds to. Everything seemed so hard at first, but stepping forward gradually has led us to this moment. I am very proud of what you have achieved, and I am honored to be here today to celebrate your well-deserved success.
Today, our dear parents and their children who patiently waited, finally, it's over. The Bautista Central School SPED Center proudly presents Virtual Graduation Ceremony 2021
with the theme Strengthening Quality Education Amid COVID-19 Pandemic. In light of this event, let us now start the ceremony. This most awaited event has never been made possible without the support of the equally and high-esteemed individuals from the District of Bautista, led by our active Schools District Supervisor, Dr. Rebecca T. Gonzalez, our dedicated and very young at heart School Principal, Dr. Leody S. Tagulao, other distinguished men and women of the entire academic community, colleagues, members of the graduating class, the pioneers of the Bautista Central School SPED Center Academic Program, proud parents, guardians, guests of honor and speaker, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant and joyous viewing to all.
To begin with, may we all put ourselves in the spirit of patriotism as we listen to our national anthem, opening prayer, regional hymn, division hymn, and Bautista hymn.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Sa man Hide me now under your wings. Cover me within your mighty hand. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood, and I will be still and know you are God. Rest my soul in Christ alone. Know His more in quietness and trust. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood, and I will be still and know you are God. I will be still and know you are God. I will be still and know you are God.
Vast dim and rolling plains give life to the sturdy hands. Men, women, young and old find hope and glory in this fold. This home of great joy and gladness, of fertile lands and green valleys, natured that captures the eye and soul. Hope let the heart of doubt and peace. East to west, from north to south, faithful ones pack and gather at the pilgrim of the North, whispering a common prayer resounding. Mabuhay, mabuhay, Pangasinan too. I sing mabuhay to you. Oh, men, women, young and old, find hope and glory in this fold. Oh, I sing mabuhay, Pangasinan too.
The proud parents and guardians, partners, stakeholders, school officials, teachers, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant day to everyone. Situated in this new normal atmosphere, we don't have the usual and traditional way of culminating the school year, recognizing the outstanding graduates, and celebrating the success of our children who are graduating today. Having hurdled the strenuous requirements of graduation. Despite the hardship, sacrifices, and stressful situation that we are in, brought about by this pandemic, our teachers, parents, and stakeholders work hard collaboratively to ensure the continuity of learning among our school children using all the available media to facilitate its acquisition. The SDO Pangasinan 2 wish to congratulate our proud graduates batch 2021. Our warmest greetings to our school managers, teachers, staff, parents, and guardians who have helped and guided our graduates attain this momentous event in their lives. Graduation is a testimony to the enduring and resilient spirit of the Filipinos for their ability to stand up, to bounce back, and to conquer the odds, just like the ongoing hardship and challenging brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Through our innate optimism to see the light and the end of every challenges in life. For so many times, we have proven that we can surmount any adversity by sharing a hand with each other in times of darkness and trials. The many challenging moments we have endured tempted us sometimes to give up, but our hearts refuses to be broken by deep distress. We don't lose our hope because of the strong faith we share with each other, even in the most trying time of circumstances. We may be battered, but definitely never defeated. Having undergone a lot of honing and guidance through the patient, loving and caring tutelage of your teachers, you graduates are now ready to face the new chapter of your educational journey. Life challenges may not be easy, but you have learned at home and in the school that a success never comes easy the way we wish it, but rather through hard work and perseverance, inspired by our Divine Almighty, which serves as our guiding light. To the graduates, again, my congratulations. We wish you all the best in your journey towards reaching your dreams and aspirations. God bless and mabuhay.
Ang ating mabuting tagapamanihala ng ikalawang dibisyon ng Pangasinan, Dr. Danilo C. Sison, kapwa magagaling na pangalawang tagapamanihala, Dr. Wilfredo E. Sintayen at Dr. Arlene B. Kasipit, ang tapat na lingkod ng ating kagawaran, SGOD Chief Dr. Rosalino T. Agpalo Jr., mga pinagpipitaganang education program supervisors, mga public schools district supervisors, senior program specialist, education program specialist, mga mapagpunyagi at ang ating mga frontliners ng DepEd, ang ating magigiting na mga guro, mga ulong guro, at punong guro ng ating paaralan sa elementarya at sekundarya, ang ating LGU officials, partner at stakeholders ng ating paaralan, mga PTA officials na parating umaalalay sa atin sa araw ng ating kagipitan, mga magsisipagtapos, mga completers, at kanilang mga magulang, kapatid at kamag-anak, mga kaibigan, isang mapagpalang araw sa inyong lahat. Sa mga araw ng pandemya, tayo ay lubos na nag-alala kung ang pag-aaral ng ating mga kabataan ay magpapatuloy pa o hindi na. Maraming beses na nagkaroon ng pag-urong ng petsa ng ating pasukan. May ilang hindi na pabor na magkakaroon ng pag-aaral sa paaralan at maraming alinlangan na baka hindi na natin kayang maitawid ang school year 2020-21. Ang school year na ito ay tumatak sa ating lahat. Taon ng takot at pangamba. Taon ng pagkawala ng maraming trabaho ng ating mga kababayan. Taon na kailangang ilayo natin ang ating sarili sa iba upang maiwasan ang paglaganap ng virus. Taon na wala ang mga mag-aaral sa loob ng paaralan at ang pagtuturo ay sa pamamagitan ng distance learning o modular na pamaraan. Taon na kailangan ng mga magulang at kapatid ay magtulong-tulong upang mairaos ang pag-aaral ng kanilang anak, ang kanilang kapatid. Taon na kailangan ang internet upang maabot ang mga mag-aaral at mga magulang. Nagkokontento tayo kahit putol-putol basta maihatid lamang ang mensahe ng pag-aaral. Taon na nauso ang salitang virtual, distance learning, SLMs, modules, portfolio making, log-in, log-out, Google Meeting, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, Zoom at iba pa. Ito rin ang taon na gawin ang mga magulang na maghintay, pumila at magbalik ng mga modules. 80 beses lang naman ang ginawang pagpila, pagkuha at pagbalik ng mga ito sa mga drop-off points para lang makompleto ang mga requirements na tapusin ng kanilang mahal na anak. Ito rin ang taon na nakakayamot sa paghihintay ng mga guro sa mga nagawang activities ng mga mag-aaral. Dahil marami daw sa kanila ang mahirap magsauli ng mga ito dahil sa samot-saring kadahilanan. Hay, ang daming kwento. Ngunit sa araw na ito gusto ko kayong saluduan at pasalamatan dahil sa matagumpay na naabot natin ang isang taon. Hangarin ng bawat isa na dapat matuto pa rin ang mga kabataan kahit nasa gitna ng krisis sa buhay. Salamat sa mga guro at ulong guro ng ating paaralan sa kanilang dedikasyon at pilit na gawin ang mga bagay-bagay upang mairaos ang mahirap na taon na pag-assess ng kaalaman ng ating kabataan sa panahon ng panganib. Ang mga imposibleng bagay ay naging posible sa kanilang diskarte at pamumuno. Sa mga magulang, kayo ang bida. Kayo ang nagpumilit upang sa bawat linggo ng pag-aaral ng iyong anak, kahit mahirap at mahaba ang pila at mainit ang panahon na umaabot na sa 51 o 52 na natala na init ng panahon, nagtiis kayo para lamang maiuwi ang mga modules at maibalik ang mga ito sa tamang panahon. Salamat sa walang humpay na tiyaga, pagtitiis at pagtustos sa pangangailangan ng iyong mga anak. Ito ang iyong pinagsikapan. Kahit ito ay mahirap, kaya ang araw na ito ay araw din na dapat bigyan kayo ng parangal dahil sa gininto ang nagawa ninyo para sa minamahal na mag-aaral. Sa mga magsisipagtapos, congratulations sa inyong lahat. Ngunit hindi pa ito ang tuldok ng pag-aaral. Ito pa lang ang simula ng laban sa mas mataas na edukasyon na iyong inaasam. Magsumikap, magtiyaga, at magpasalamat palagi sa Diyos at sa mga magulang na nagsusubaybay sa inyong pagkamit ng pangarap sa buhay. Magpatuloy at maging handa sa lahat ng laban kahit na sa panahon ng pandemya. Subukan pa rin ihakbang ang mga paa sa landasin na medyo mahirap, matinik, makipot, ngunit sa huli, ang tagumpay naman ang inyong makakamit. Ako bilang lingkod ng DepEd at mga kasama ko sa Curriculum Implementation Division, magpapatuloy kami na magbibigay ng abot ng lahat ng aming makakaya upang mapaganda at maihatid namin ang magaling na sistema sa pag-aaral dito sa ating dibisyon sa mga sumusunod na mga taon. Kasama namin kayo sa pagkamit ng iyong pangarap sa buhay. Magtiwala tayo sa Diyos na parating tumitingin at nakikinig sa ating daing at handang magbigay ng lahat ng ating pangangailangang pisikal, pinansyal at espiritual. Sa mga araw na mahirap, magsumikap. Sa mga araw ng kawalan, kapit lang sa itaas. Ngunit gusto ko ring baunin natin ang mga katagang nasa tao ang gawa, nasa Diyos ang awa. Ang pagpapala ng Diyos ay sumasa ating lahat. Isang magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
It is overwhelming to hear words of welcome from our very own Vice Mayor, Honorable Joseph G. Spino, our PTA President.
Thank you, sir, for that delightful greetings to our viewers today. To do the honor of presenting this school year's candidates for graduation and completion, may we have on our screen our very own and dedicated School Principal 3, Dr. Leody S. Tagulao, followed right away by the acceptance, confirmation, and her message, Dr. Rebecca T. Gonzalez, Public Schools District Supervisor.
Dr. Rebecca T. Gonzalez, Public Schools District Supervisor. I have the honor to present to you 179 candidates for graduation, 85 of whom are males and 94 are females of Bautista Central School SPED Center for the school year 2020-2021. They have satisfactorily completed all the requirements prescribed by the Bureau of Education and or Department of Education under the K-12 curriculum. Ma'am, they are waiting for your confirmation.
By the authority of the school's division superintendent, Dr. Danilo C. Sison, and acting upon the recommendation of your principal, Dr. Leody S. Tagulao, that you have successfully completed all the requirements as prescribed by the Department of Education for elementary schools, I, Dr. Rebecca T. Gonzalez, Public Schools District Supervisor, I hereby confirm your graduation rights and declare you graduates effective today, July 16, 2021. I therefore confer upon you all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining. Congratulations. Education is one of the most indispensable tools to progress. No nation in this world will attain progress if its people have no education. It is for this reason that despite this rampaging pandemic going around the world, every nation is relentlessly doing appropriate remedies so that the children will be provided with proper education in congruency with all the health protocols to avoid transmission of the infectious virus called COVID-19 with their variants. The Department of Education did not waste time thinking on how to pursue the teaching-learning process in every school so that the education of our children will continue and not to be sacrificed. The face-to-face teaching was not allowed. Instead, the children are taught using the modular instructions in order to avoid contact with teachers and other learners. Although the teachers encountered many problems and difficulties in the productions of modules, this did not hinder them, but through their own initiatives and resourcefulness, and within the help of parents, school administrators, and stakeholders, they successfully accomplished their vision and mission in the midst of this crisis. Today, though we do not have the traditional face-to-face graduation ceremony, I am very happy indeed that in spite of so many sacrifices, we and our children have successfully done our part, and these experiences are worth remembering into our life. May I extend my warmest thanks to the parents, guardians, and other family members who gave their full support to our children or learners. To the teachers, I salute you with your efforts, for you have done the best legacy in your profession as teachers. To the graduates, carry on the good work and follow your dreams, and let us continue working together to put into action the 2021 graduation theme, strengthening quality education amid COVID-19 pandemic. God bless us all.
Thank you, Ma'am, for your heartwarming message. Congratulations, graduates. And to award the learners who excelled this school year in their respective classes, may I request the advisors of each class to announce their academic excellence awardees and the list of graduates.
The battle cry of the Department of Education should continue amid pandemic. Despite the challenges it brought to our learners, there are those who made it successfully to the best of their performance and ability through the guidance of their parents and guardians. Ladies and gentlemen, the Academic Excellence Awardees of Grade 6 SPED Fast Learners for the school year 2020-2021. With high honors are Antonio Axel Emery Shoson, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Calexto Antonio from Nibaling Sur, Bautista, Pangasinan. Julian Alina Jen Angel Gubatan, guardian, Mrs. Martha Gubatan from Nandakan, Bautista, Pangasinan. And Paningbatan Darlene Mangampat, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Darwin Paningbatan from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. With honors are Calyanta Zoe Fernandez, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arnel Calyanta from Anulid, Alcala, Pangasinan. Kasingal Vincent Ray Agbuya, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Vitaliano Ricardo Kasingal from Nibaling Norte, Bautista, Pangasinan. Castillo Kyle Kinsay, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bonifacio Castillo from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Cayetano Nathan Parica, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Emmanuel Cayetano from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. Sarah Gwenly Cebuan, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Glenn Serra from Nandakan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Consul Hannah Elisha Corpus, parents, Mr. and Mrs. General Consul from Bacante, Bautista, Pangasinan. De Vera Giniel Trinity Zay Cayabyab, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Leonardo De Vera Jr. from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Dumalanta Aaron Charles Arenas, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jeffrey Dumalanta from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Fernandez Xavier Lance Villanueva, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Noel Fernandez Jr. from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Frias J.M. Mamarin, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jason Frias from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Frias Nadine Lopez. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Noel Frias from Pacandungan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Gagabi Denise Iza Carbonell. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Howard Amor Gagabi from Katigan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Ganitano Mark Hendrick Arenas. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Henry Ganitano from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Garcia Georgie Savannah Saison. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Georgito Garcia from Bungato East, Bayambang, Pangasinan. Guerrero Christine Cantado. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Verly Guerrero from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Iglesias Anthea Zoe Palaganas. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gypsy Iglesias from Bungato East, Bayambang, Pangasinan. Lohan Jushel Charm Rabino. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark Julius Lohan from Nibaling Sur, Bautista, Pangasinan. Lopez Lady Lalaine Baratang. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Antonio Lopez from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Mejia Matthew Justin Dacanay. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Julius Mejia from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Oreo Mark July Soriano. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Julio Oreo from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Quebral Maria Cristina Austria. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rodante Quebral from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Sagucio Bral Jorens Iglesias. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dionisio Sagucio from Cambuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Salazar Sheila May Ferrer. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romeo Salazar from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Santiago Mica Gonzalez. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romelito Santiago from Cacandungan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Tumbaga Lalaine Mangampat. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ricky Tumbaga from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Vargas Bernadette Marie de Guzman. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bernard Vargas from Lawak, Alcala, Pangasinan. Gloria III Rolando R.J. de los Reyes. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rolando Gloria Jr. from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. To all our Academic Excellence awardees, as well as their parents and guardians, congratulations!
Good day, everyone. It is my distinct honor to present to you today the graduates receiving Academic Excellence Award in my section, Grade 6, Macapagal. They are Butron Beyonce M. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Leonardo Butron from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Kakachan Rainelin L. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reyno Kakachan from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Kaligan meets Ella D. with honors. Parent, Miss Mary Grace de la Cruz from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Kamurongan Nor Adrian G. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Noli Kamurongan from Palizok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Dacumos Andrea Yvonne M. with honors. Parent, Miss Jacqueline Dacumos from Bungato East, Bayambang, Pangasinan. Delgado Louis Angeline F. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jerome Delgado from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Dudang Maifat Cyrus O. with honors. Parent, Miss Jamaica Valerie D. Okbo from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. Felicitas Juliana May V. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo Felicitas from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Imperial Josephine Amor M. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joven Imperial from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Makatbag Princess Andre C. with honors. Parent, Miss Joyce Arian Cabanilla from Anulid, Alcala, Pangasinan. Nabwa Maria Angela V. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Carlito Nabwa from Cacandongan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Ordoño Lian A. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arnold Ordoño from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Pedrozo Randel R. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ricky Pedrozo from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. Sison John Calvin C. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Carlos Sison Jr. from Bongato East, Bayambang, Pangasinan. Sibayan Dave Jairus M. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ramil Sibayan from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. Solomon Andrea Nicole D. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mario Jr. Solomon from Vacante, Bautista, Pangasinan. Valdez Martha May C. with honors. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Franco Valdez from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Likewise, I am pleased to present to you the graduates under my advisorship. Here they are. Capudoy Rejan Santino R. Parent, Mr. Planaldo Capudoy from Cabuan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Galietes Lawrence R. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Chofilo E. Galietes Jr. from Ulea, Malasiki, Pangasinan. La Guardia Larry Lemon Jr. V. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Larry Lemon Sr. La Guardia from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Lazaro Renz D. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Renato Lazaro from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Lubendino Carl Lloyd F. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Francisco Lubendino from Cabuan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Sarmiento Justin Cedric B. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romulo Sarmiento from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Sibayan Gian Andro C. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alejandro Sibayan III from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. Zinampan Roderick M. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romeo Zinampan Jr. from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Alimpuyugan Jessica May E. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Christopher Alimpuyugan from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Ancheta Lauren Gale L. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ricardo Ancheta from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Cariaga Princess Erica G. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Louis Cariaga from Kabuuan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Karungay Raysian Joyce B. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Karungay from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. De Leon Princess Edeline F. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dale De Leon from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. De Los Reyes Asia Marie S. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Michael De Los Reyes from Anulid, Alcala, Pangasinan. Dolatre Jen Irish G. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rainer Dolatre from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Manamtang Jacen O. Parent, Miss Bona Orbilio from Kabuuan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Manzano Arvin Joy V. Parent, Miss Maria Cristina Valio from Nibalin Norte, Bautista, Pangasinan. Masaoy Sharin Azel F. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Sandy Masaoy from Katugan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Mauricio Jane Hazel B. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jojo Mauricio from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Nagit Micaela E. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Michael Nagit from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Regunayan Michelle Ann G. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marvin Regunayan from Bungatong West, Bayambang, Pangasinan. To all the graduates and their proud parents and guardians, my warmest congratulations! Isang mapagpalang araw po para sa ating lahat. I am proud to present to you the graduates under my advisory for this school year 2020-2021. Aguilar Ken Mauricio, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Renan D. Aguilar from Tutugan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Albino Racy Martinez, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romeo A. Albino from Kabuuan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Bactad Harold Rosario, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Benji G. Bactad from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Banaag Ken Gabriel Benitez, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marvelous Marvin P. Banaag from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Candelario Gian Garcia, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alfredo M. Candelario from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Caranto Danreb Aaron Sabangan, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bernardo A. Caranto from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Senyo J. Basto, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph J. Senyo from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Frias Jeffrey Martinez, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ramon E. Frias from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Cortado Gerald Iglesias, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Leopoldo R. Cortado from Kabuuan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Lacerna Mark Jerome Sabangan, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark Berhel A. Lacerna from Bungato East, Bayambang. Lanorio John Michael Beltran, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Pepito G. Lanorio from Bacante, Bautista, Pangasinan. Ligayan Paul Andre Uchina, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Aldrin F. Ligayan from Anulid, Alcala, Pangasinan. Manlonga Alex Lee J. Kabuga, parents,
Mr. and Mrs. Alexander M. Manlungat Sr. from Bungato East, Bayambang, Pangasinan. Manlungat Zian Alaric. Parents, Mrs. Maylene F. Manlungat from Bungato East, Bayambang, Pangasinan. Mihia Adrian Jumalon. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ferdinand V. Mihia from Kakandungan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Pasamonte Mark Geoff Domingo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. George B. Pasamonte from Bacante, Bautista, Pangasinan. Pedrocha Kian Roosevelt Abalos. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dante A. Pedrocha from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Sibayan A.J. Campos. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Angelo D. Sibayan from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Trinidad Prince Kyle Corpus. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Emerson B. Trinidad from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Veloria Daniel Joshua Arboliente. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Michael V. Villaria from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Villapando Janworth Palami. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Norberto A. Villapando from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Abihero Cristel Kai Liwana. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ramon Boyet G. Abihero Jr. from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Anicas Iris May Tagulao. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marlon L. Anicas from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Beltran Shane May Bernal. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Richard B. Beltran from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Kakachan Jennifer Ignacio. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jaime P. Kakachan from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Concepcion Joma Sabrina Topia. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Martin Jan S. Concepcion from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Conde Albanez Ponciano. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ernesto L. Conde from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Cruz Sabrina Angel Manamtang. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Juan Carlo P. Cruz from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. De Jesus Israel Faith Vallejos. Parents, Mr. Peter M. De Jesus and Mrs. Aine Vallejos from Kakandungan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Jumaro Jambi Palo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bobby A. Jumaro from Bongani East, Bayambang, Pangasinan. Domingo Rian Yanga. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo G. Domingo from Bacante, Bautista, Pangasinan. Espinilia Glyza Marie Tagulao. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edwin M. Espinilia Jr. from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Libuan Lovely Joy Floralde. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rolando P. Libuan from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Lucero Princess Dorothy Abad. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rolando P. Lucero from Pugo, Bautista, Pangasinan. Macaranas Sarah Nicole Mabasa. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Salvador B. Macaranas from Cotigan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Mejia Alex Rain Bernardo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alberto Y. Mejia from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Oligiana Avril Nicole de Vera. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Genelino C. Oligiana from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Congratulations, everyone!
A victorious day, everyone. It is with great pleasure and honor to present to you the graduates under my advisory, Grade 6 Frias. Ancheta Christian Umalay, Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Angelito L. Ancheta, from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Kabudbod Mark Denver Campus. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Flaviano C. Kabudbod, from Bacante, Bautista, Pangasinan. Kakatyan Ezekiel L. Parent, Miss Rusty L. Kakatyan, from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Campus Aljur Velasco. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Leonardo D. Campos, from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Kapulong Mark Aaron Peria. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark Noel G. Kapulong, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Kasingal Aljur D. Luna. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alan P. Kasingal, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Kayabyab Mark Henson Tabor. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Henry D. Kayabyab, from Nibaliw Norte, Bautista, Pangasinan. De la Cruz Kyle Joshua. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jason O. De la Cruz, from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. De Vera Edward Joseph Mancilia. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ramil T. De Vera, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Dizon Janice Ignacio. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Isagani E. Dizon, from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Escanio Ronald Jason Santos. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronald C. Escanio, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Famorcan Dan Liam. Parent, Miss Lauraline C. Pamorcan, from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Frias Romeric Rodriguez. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romel M. Frias, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Gabay Mark Anthony Venluan. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Erwin R. Gabay, from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Lazarte King Gabriel Barboza. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Aldrin Joseph D. Lazarte, from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Madrid Billy Santiago. Mr. and Mrs. Dario Jose Madrid, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Pascua Richard Macalanda. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan B. Pascua, from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Cabral Francis Arkin Roylo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jeffrey A. Cabral, from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Kenagon King David Beya. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Fernando C. Kenagon, from Anulid, Alcala, Pangasinan. Alanzalon Angel Grace Dion. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Nino D. Alanzalon, from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Alvareda Zachary Rose Isla. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ronel L. Alvareda, from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Artuzuela Dea Baldonado. Parent, Miss Florencia B. Artuzuela, from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Cabanilla Arian Ashley Valdez. Parent, Miss Judith Ann V. Cabanilla from Anulid, Alcala, Pangasinan. Kayabyab Rochelle. Parent, Miss Rowena A. Kayabyab from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Dakanay Shane Abigail Placido. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Abe P. Dakanay from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Eduria Eliza Kate Torreverde. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bernard G. Eduria from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. Garbo J. Ann Peralta. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. J. P. Garbo from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Makaraeg M.J. Datangel. Mr. and Mrs. Romelo M. Makaraeg from Bungato East, Bayambang, Pangasinan. Manrique Miona Nicole Bactan. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Denver M. Manrique from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Mineses Jessica Lumibaw. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rogelio Mineses from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Ramos Ariela May Ardita. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ariel C. Ramos from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Ramos Riza Elise D. Guzman. Mr. and Mrs. Eliseo P. Ramos Jr. from Kakandungan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Revilla Riza Agustin. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Melchor G. Revilla from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. Solis Leslie Ann Calixtro. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Robert G. Solis from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Son Aisel Van Audrey Cabael. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rogie G. Son from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Tagulaw Tricia Nicole Season. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Choderick J. Tagulaw from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Tuazon Alexa Agdipa. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alexander M. Tuazon from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. To all the graduates and the proud parents, our warmest congratulations for a job well done. To God be the glory.
I am proud and happy to present to you the graduates under my advisory Grade 6 Girls Team for this school year 2020-2021. Avalos Dexter Villanueva. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Renato C. Avalos from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Ancheta Amado Deo Turao. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ruben C. Ancheta from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. And the hair Elisha David Cannon. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Esmeraldo C. and the hair from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Balbas Angelo Anel. Parent, Miss Rachel D. Balbas from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Korea Red Gallardo, parents Mr. and Mrs. Glenn M. Korea, from San Nicolas, Alcalá, Pangasinan. Espejo Gian Ace Camorongan, parents Mr. and Mrs. Francis Ace Espejo, from MH Del Pilar, Bayambang, Pangasinan. Fajardo Har Sijun Nato, parents Mr. and Mrs. Arthur G. Fajardo, from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Garcia Joseph Jr. Bautista, parents Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Sr. G. Garcia, from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Gumangan Ryan Ezekiel Elorin, parents Mr. and Mrs. Ryan Gumangan, from Anulid, Alcalá, Pangasinan. Labiaga Andre Rosal, parents Mr. and Mrs. Ruel O. Labiaga, from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. Mondero Aaron Chester Padre, parents Mr. and Mrs. Alfredo M. Mondero, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Nawe Michelle Mike Morales, parents Mr. and Mrs. Michael Nawe, from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. Nawe Prince Joshane Togonon, parents Mr. and Mrs. Philip B. Nawe, from Diaz, Bautista, Pangasinan. Milo Kobe Elijah Turao, parents Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy Jr. S. Nilo, from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Oliveras Slevin Kyle Peralta, parents Mr. and Mrs. Lester P. Oliveras, from Pugo, Bautista, Pangasinan. Pascua Raymond Macalanda, parents Mr. and Mrs. Ryan B. Pascua, from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Rentutar John Renbo, parent Miss Armida B. Rentutar, from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Rita John Lloyd Manlungat, parents Mr. and Mrs. Roberto S. Rita Jr., from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Rodolfa Mark Franco Ferrer, parents Mr. and Mrs. Francis S. Rodolfa, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Tomas Aaron Luis Moral, parents Mr. and Mrs. Armando G. Tomas, from Kakaldungan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Velasco Dennis Lanorio, parents Mr. and Mrs. PJ D. Velasco, from Bacante, Bautista, Pangasinan. Wong Winston Kyle Basilio, parents Mr. and Mrs. Wendell C. Wong, from Anulid, Alcalá, Pangasinan. Kasingal Almira Estrellado, parents Mr. and Mrs. Alfredo D. Kasingal, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. De Leon Giselle Pearl Camcam, parents Mr. and Mrs. Jade H. De Leon, from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. De La Pasión Cyrene Garcia, parents Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy C. De La Pasión, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Dion Shane Kelsey Tempra, parents Mr. and Mrs. Emmanuel M. Dion Jr., from Nibaliw Norte, Bautista, Pangasinan. Dison K. Elaine, parent Miss Vanessa Pascual Dison, from Sinabaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Eliab Shane Adrian Buendia, parents Mr. and Mrs. Alfie M. Eliab, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Fernandez Rose Ann Javier, parents Mr. and Mrs. Ricardo M. Fernandez Jr., from Cabuaan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Fernandez Samantha Julian Camacho, parents Mr. and Mrs. Noel D. Fernandez, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Ferrer Laika Joy, parents Miss Rona A. Ferrer, from Bacante, Bautista, Pangasinan. Garbo Diana Shane Katubig, parents Mr. and Mrs. Leopoldo G. Garbo, from Poblacion East, Bautista, Pangasinan. Maglangke Rosemary Junio,
Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Orlando T. Maglangke, from Cabuan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Prestosa Leia Briones, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ricky R. Prestosa, from Nandacan, Bautista, Pangasinan. Talangines Kathleen Valdez, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rodrigo G. Talangines, from Palisok, Bautista, Pangasinan. Tapinit Rodaline, parents, Miss Amalia D. Tapinit, from Poblacion West, Bautista, Pangasinan. Villansana Mayan Placido, parents, Mr. and Mrs. Celso G. Villansana Jr., from Pugo, Bautista, Pangasinan. To all the graduates for this batch 2021 and the proud parents, congratulations!
Meanwhile, may we hear Axel Emery S. Antonio for her with high honors address.
Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do. A quote from Pelé, the famous football player. Congratulations, we've done it. All the hard work has paid off. Reaching the final ladder of elementary education is a sweet success. Graduating in the elementary is not the end, yet a beginning of a bigger and more challenging life ahead. Are you ready now to take the next step? It's an honor to stand before you today, not just as the first honor of the class, but as a representative of each one of you, my schoolmates who are the proud and victorious learners of this institution. The past 7 years have certainly been tough, but now we are all here to celebrate our triumphs, our achievements, our victories, and the journey on which we have all embarked toward our future destinations. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the following people whom I considered the superheroes behind my success. First of all, my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Calixto Antonio, who will turn everything upside down for their children. Lalabanan nila kahit na anong hirap para lamang mairaos ang aming pamilya. Higit na ang pag-aaral naming magkapatid. Thank you so much, Mama and Papa. I love you very much. Second, of course, are my teachers, headed by the ever-supportive and hardworking Supervisor Rebecca T. Gonzalez and our Principal 3, Dr. Leo de Estagulao. Thank you for being the superheroes who constantly guiding and supporting me in my academic journey. Ang mga guro ang tunay na superhero ng bayan, sapagkat sila ang humuhubog sa mga kabataan na pag-asa ng ating bayan. Lastly, I also offer this success to my advisor, Dr. Emerson Q. Palaming, the super teacher. Thank you, Sir Ems, for everything. You have played a pivotal role in molding our personality and constantly encourage us. Without your support, we would not have made it to this point of life. You are really a master because you are always kind and helping us to master valuable skills and knowledge that we need. Often, on the graduation day, we look outside for heroes, but I am sure they are right here among us. I have seen in my 7 years at BCSSC that we don't have to look far for inspiration and that each of us have the potential to make an inspiring contribution to others by being true to our values and committing ourselves to great goals. We have learned a lot in terms of academics as well as from our friends and families. All of us had different aspirations and dreams when we entered here, but we are living as the proud learners of Bautista Central School SPED Center with a common wish to be successful. When you live here today, be proud, celebrate what you have accomplished, and look forward with an eye toward how you too can be the inspiration for others. Once again, congratulations to all of us. Kudos Batch 2021.
At this moment, let us welcome Municipal Mayor Honorable Amadeo T. Espino for his message to the graduates.
This time, let us listen to Aliyah Jen Angel G. Julian for her with high honors address.
Isang mapagpalang araw sa ating lahat. Sa pagkakataong ito, nais ko po munang bigyang pugay ang mga sumusunod. Sa ating kagalang-galang na ama ng ating bayan, Mayor Amado I. Espino. Sa ating pinakamamahal na District Supervisor, Dr. Rebecca T. Gonzales. Sa ating masipag na Principal 3, Dr. Leody S. Tagulaw. Sa lahat ng mga guro ng BCSSC, sa aming resource speaker, sa aming mga mapagmahal na mga magulang, at sa mga tala sa araw na ito, aking mga kapwa magsisipagtapos sa taong 2021. Mabuhay po tayong lahat! Isang karangalan na magkaroon ng oportunidad upang makapagsalita sa harapan po ninyong lahat. Hindi po lingid sa ating kaalaman na ang pag-aaral ay mahirap, ngunit masaya sapagkat kailangan ito ng sakripisyo upang matugunan ang mga pangangailangan araw-araw. Masaya akong kasama ang mga guro at kamag-aral sa paggawa ng mga proyekto. Kaya sa aming mga guro, maraming salamat po sa walang sawang paggabay sa amin. Ang Bautista Central School SPED Center ang naging pangalawang tahanan namin at lubos akong nagagalak sa 7 taon kong pag-aaral dito. Nariyan ang aking mga kaklase na 8 oras kong nakakasama 5 beses sa isang linggo. Pero dahil sa pandemya ay hindi na kami nagkakasama-sama sa huling taon sa elementarya. Ngunit dapat tayong matuwa dahil may babalik-balikan tayong masasayang alaala sa ating buhay. Isa kayo sa mga tumulong sa akin upang mahubog ang aking personalidad. Sa pagtungtong ko ng sekundarya, tiyak na hindi ako mahihirapang makisama. Sa aking mga bagong makikilala, bagkus tinulungan ninyo akong malinang ang aking pisikal, mental, sosyal at iba pa para maging handa sa bagong yugto ng ating buhay. Naway magtagumpay tayo sa panibagong hamong tatahakin, ang high school life. Sa aking pamilya, kay mama, aking mga kapatid at aking lola na laging sumusuporta sa amin. Maraming salamat po. Kayo ang siyang gumagabay sa amin sa tamang landas. Ang mabigyan ng pagkakataong makapag-aral ay isa sa mga pinakanais ng bawat bata at isang pribilehiyo na kami itinataguyod ninyo sa hirap man ng ating pamumuhay. Kung kaya't tutumbasan ko ng karangalan ang inyong paghihirap. Mama, Lola, handog ko sa inyo ang gintong medalyang ito. Sa ating butihing supervisor, Dr. Rebecca T. Gonzales, masipag na Principal 3, Dr. Leody S. Tagulaw. Salamat po sa mga panalangin at intelektual na suporta. sa aming magagaling na mga guro ng BCSSC mula kinder hanggang ika-6 na baitang. Tanggapin po ninyo ang aking lubos na pasasalamat at pagpupugay. Gayon din po sa aking idolo na advisor, Dr. Emerson Q. Palaming. Salamat po at marami po kaming natutunan sa inyo at di po namin makakalimutan ang inyong mga payo. At sa aking coach, mentor sa radio broadcasting, Dr. Olivia L. De Los Santos, sa mga masasayang pagsasanay at karanasan na higit na nalinang aking kumpiyansa sa aking sarili. Sa aming resource speaker, sa napakagandang mensahe. Sa aming mahal na Mayor, Amadeo I. Espino at sa lahat ng SB members at iba pang stakeholders ng aming paaralan. Salamat po sa walang sawang pagtugon sa aming pangangailangang pinansyal sa mga araw ng aming pakikipagtunggali at baon sa aming pagbabalik ang aming mga nakamit na tagumpay. Sa aking mga kaibigan, kaklase at kapwa magsisipagtapos, salamat din sa mga alaala nung tayo magkakasama. Tanggapin natin ang panibagong hamon ng ating buhay. Maging mapanalangin, positibo at maging masayahin sa paggawa ng ating gawaing pampaaralan upang maging matagumpay tayo sa bawat yugto ng ating panahon. Sa ating pagtatapos, ang karangalang ito ay buong puso kong inihahandog sa aking mga mahal na magulang, sa aking mga guro, sa aking kamag-aral at mga kaibigan at higit sa lahat, ang Diyos na lumikha na nagbibigay ng talento sa akin. Sa batch 2021, panibagong hamon ating harapin, magsumikap sa pag-aaral upang tagumpay ay ating kamtin. Maraming salamat po.
Today, we have invited a guest of honor for a speech of encouragement. Everyone, please pay attention to get the full experience and learn something new today. Let us listen to Madam Shirley A. Frias, Master Teacher 2, to introduce our guest of honor and speaker.
Our distinguished guest of honor and speaker for today's very remarkable event, our well-respected Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Danilo C. Sison, SDO2 of Pangasinan, our very young and very competent Public Schools District Supervisor, Dr. Rebecca T. Gonzalez, our workaholic principal, Dr. Leode S. Tagulao, our very active and hands-on head of this town, Honorable Amadeo T. Espino, Sangguniang Bayan members headed by our very own Vice Mayor, Honorable Joseph G. Espino, and at the same time, our BCSSC overall PTA President. Gorgeous and industrious members of Bautista Central School SPED Center, teaching and non-teaching staff, our benevolent SGC President, Mrs. Angelica Hubbard, members of the Barangay Council of Nandacan under the helm of Barangay Captain Honorable Rolando C. Viloria, members of the Parents Teachers Association, Supreme Government Council Officers of Bautista Central School SPED Center, our very supportive and cooperative parents, members of the graduating class Batch 2021, other special guests, visitors, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a victorious day, everyone. Borrowing the lines of our education experts, success is not a matter of luck, but it's a matter of one's own making. It is not a matter of fate that is destined to happen, but it is a matter of life control and discipline. It is not merely hoping and doing nothing, but it is rooted from the exigency of actions. It is not the end of endeavors and perseverance, but the beginning of a new set of trials and experiences. It is for everybody who wants to pay the price. Absolutely true. And our guest of honor and speaker for today's virtual graduation rites is one of the living proofs of these inspirational lines. How could I say he paid the price? Let us listen to this. He is the eldest son of Mr. and Mrs. Imiterio C. Cayabyab, a typical and hard-working couple who depend so much on the bounty of the land they till as farmers. Living a simple life, they believe that to uplift their economic situation, their children should finish their education no matter how hard life is. True to this, our guest of honor and speaker and all his siblings have experienced the trials and challenges of everyday life. But, as always, God's good and loving to his children, and when you cast all your cares on him, you will lack nothing good because he will provide everything you need. He finished his elementary education at Bautista Central School, our dear alma mater, and his secondary education at St. John Institute, Bautista, Pangasinan. He pursued his college education at Pangasinan State University, Bayambang, Pangasinan, as one of the pioneer graduates of Bachelor of Science in Mathematics in the year 1983. Hardworking as his parents, he continued his masteral education at Philippine Normal University, Manila, and graduated the Master in Information Technology Education in 2001. Driven by his desire to climb the ladder of success, he enrolled at the University of Luzon, Dagupan City, and finished the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in 2015. Not only that, he did not just pass one eligibility examination, but 5. He passed the Career Service Professional Examination in 1983, the Professional Board Exam for Teachers, or PBET, in 1986, the National Qualifying Examination for Principals, or NCAPT, in 2009, the Career Service Written Examination in 2016, and the Career Executive Service Officer 6, or CESO 6. With all the eligibilities at hand, there is no doubt that he is now holding the position of Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, DepEd Schools Division Office at San Carlos City, Pangasinan. It is noteworthy to say that he rose from the ranks, exemplifying dedication to work, patience, and perseverance. From Teacher 1 at the Dagupan City National High School to Teacher 3 at the same school, then Head Teacher 6 of the Dagupan City National High School, and Principal 1 at Federico M. Zeralda Integrated School on September 3, 2009 to January 3, 2011. He became the Education Program Supervisor, DepEd Schools Division Office, Dagupan City, in January 4, 2011 to June 1, 2017. And the rest was history of his competence and dedication to work. As they say, behind a man's success is a woman, and that woman behind the success is none other than Mrs. Cherry Arzadon Cayabyab. Inspired and happily married, he is now enjoying the company of his own family. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pride and honor to present to you our guest of honor and speaker, the pride of Bautista Central School, the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Diosdado Iglesias Cayabyong. A round of applause, please.
Isang mapagpalang araw po sa ating lahat. Allow me first to extend my warmest greetings to our education partners, particularly our local government officials of Bautista, headed by our Honorable Mayor, Amadeo T. Espino, our Municipal Vice Mayor, the same time, the overall PTA President of Bautista Central School SPED Center, Honorable Joseph G. Espino, the Barangay Captain of Nandacan, Honorable Rolando Viloria, PTA officials, school governance council officials, headed by Angelica Hobart, the President. Of course, special greetings to our Schools Division Superintendent of Pangasinan 2, Dr. Danilo C. Sison, PTA officials, school officials of Bautista Central School, headed by the school principal, Dr. Liode Tagulao, parents, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant day to everyone. My congratulations to you, my dear graduates of Bautista Central School, SPED Center, for having satisfactorily completed all the requirements of the basic elementary education curriculum amid COVID-19 pandemic. Likewise, to the school officials, faculty and staff for doing an incredible job of continuously nurturing our learners despite the unprecedented challenges of time. You know, my dear friends, when Dr. Liodi Tagulao, your school principal, called me and extended the invitation that I will be your guest of honor and speaker, I did not hesitate and I accept it at once because I know that I will be speaking in front of the graduates of my alma mater, the Bautista Central School. Alam po ninyo mga kaibigan, graduate din po ako sa paaralang ito. Marami po akong natutunan dito sa paaralang ito. And I am proud to be a graduate of this prestigious educational institution. Ito ang paaralan na nagbigay sa akin ng unang hakbang tungo sa tagumpay. Marami po akong natutunan dito, sabi ko nga. Dito ko lalong natutunan ang kagandahang asal at ang pagiging mapagpakumbaba. Kaya ako ay lubos na nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng aking mga naging guro sa paaralang ito. Siguro karamihan sa kanila ay mga retired na rin sa ngayon. Pero I can still remember some of my teachers before. To name some, during my grade 1, Madam Hutse, Madam Sibayan, Madam Mansano, Madam Dancel, Ma'am Di Guzman when I was in grade 5, and then Ma'am Iglesias when I was in grade 6. I can also still remember, Sir Pablito Kiambao, my agriculture teacher, and Sir Angel Pagsulingan, my PE teacher. Saludo po ako sa inyong lahat ng aking naging mga guro dito sa paaralang ito. Okay? Kundi dahil sa inyo ay siguro hindi ko rin mararating ang aking posisyon ngayon. At syempre sa aking mga naging kamag-aral, mga kaibigan, at sa lahat ng mga school officials. Okay? Saludo po ako at ako po ay taos-pusong nagpapasalamat sa inyong lahat. Okay? Kung aking balikan ang aking sitwasyon nung ako'y nag-aaral pa dito, ako ay isang mag-aaral, isang bata na mahiyain, okay? Tahimik, ordinaryong mag-aaral po ako nung nandito po ako sa paaralang ito. Pero ako po ay namulat sa kahirapan. Alam po ninyo, dahil sa kawalan ng pera, hindi po namin kayang sumakay noon sa mga tricycle. Kaya ginagawa ko po ay nilalakad ko po mula bahay hanggang paaralan at pabalik. Umulan man o umaraw, walang problema yan sa akin. Makarating lang ako sa paaralan upang maka-attend ng aking mga classes. So, ganyan po. Okay? Ganyan din po ang aking naranasan. Okay? Nung ako ay nasa kolehiyo na, nilalakad ko po magmulang bahay hanggang sa Bayambang, sa PSU. Maski umuulan yan, umaaraw, mainit na araw. Sa katunayan nga, may mga instances na may mga tricycle drivers na naahawa na sila siguro sa akin at sinasakay na ako ng libre. Ganyan po kahirap noon nung ako ay nag-aaral. Okay. Sa murang edad, nasubukan kong mag-araro sa bukid. Hindi nyo alam. Nasubukan kong magtanim ng palay, mais, sibuyas at mga iba pang mga gulay. So, ang init, mainit ang araw noon, okay? Umuulan. Sinuong ko pong lahat ng mga yan. Okay? Tapos ko lang ang aking pag-aaral. At ako po ay hindi nahihiyang sabihin sa inyong lahat ng aking mga magulang ay magsasaka. Tinaguyod po nila kami sa kabila ng kahirapan upang makatapos kaming lahat sa pag-aaral. Natatandaan ko pa noon na sabi ng aking ama, wala kaming maipamamana sa inyo kundi ang edukasyon. Dapat matapos kayong lahat sa inyong pag-aaral, mga anak. Yan ang sabi niya. Kaya, nagsumikap po ako bilang isang panganay na kapatid sa 7 magkakapatid. Tinapos ko po ang aking pag-aaral at upang matulungan ang aking mga magulang. Pero sa kasawiyang palad po, maaga pong namatay ang aking mga magulang. Kaya, ako na po ang tumayong ama at ina sa aking mga magkakapatid. So, ganyan po ang aking buhay nung ako po ay nag-aaral pa. Alam po ninyo, natapos ko ang aking sekundarya edukasyon dito rin sa Bautista, dito sa St. John Institute. At ang aking kolehiyo ay natapos ko sa Pangasinan State University sa kursong Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. So, marami pong talagang pagsubok. Okay? Sabi ko kanina, nilalakad ko mamulang eskwelahan hanggang Bayambang PSU, hanggang doon sa taas. Okay. Hanggang nakapagtapos ako at nakapagturo. Nagturo po ako sa Dagupan City National High School at habang ako ay nagtuturo, sinikap ko ring matapos ang aking masteral and then ang aking doctoral degree. Yan. So, patunay nga na ang edukasyon, okay, ay susi sa kahirapan. Ang kahirapan ay hindi hadlang para makamit ang tagumpay. Tandaan po ninyo yan. So, gusto ko pong ibahagi sa ating mga mag-aaral, mga graduates ngayon, ang isa pang sikreto ng susi ng tagumpay. Ito ay aking tinatawag na 4D. Apat na Ds. So, ano ba ang ibig sabihin? Kahulugan ng unang D. Ang unang D ay ang devotion. Ito po ay ating pananalig at pananampalataya sa ating may kapal. Very important po yan. Ano po ang pangalawang D? Ang pangalawang D ay ang dedication. Dedication sa ating lahat ng ating mga ginagawa, trabaho, tandaan po natin yan. Ano naman ang pangatlong D? Determinasyon. Yan ang isa ring magbibigay sa atin ng pagkamit ng ating tagumpay. At ano naman ang pang-apat na D? Anong ibig sabihin? Ano ang sinisimbolo ng pang-apat na D? Definitely, hindi yan Diyos dado. Ang pang-apat na D, ang ibig sabihin ay diskarte. Dapat marunong tayong dumiskarte sa buhay. Alam po ninyo, tayong mga Pinoy, talagang madiskarte tayo sa buhay. So, kailangan natin ng diskarte para tayo ay magtagumpay. Ayan. So, kayong mga magsisipagtapos ngayon, huwag kayong magsawang mangarap. There is a bright future ahead of you. Just persevere, follow your dreams, and what is important is do the action. Okay? Pagpatuloy nyo ang inyong pag-aaral hanggang sa makamtan nyo ang inyong tagumpay. Tandaan nyo ang 4 na letrang D na sinabi ko at dagdagan nyo rin ng sipag at tiyaga. Yan. So, sigurado akong kayo rin ay magtatagumpay sa hinaharap. Okay? You know, my dear friends, one of the most awaited events in the life of the learners and, of course, to the parents is the graduation day. It is an acknowledgement of your many accomplishments and deserve to be celebrated. I'm so proud of each one of you, my dear graduates, of your academic journeys. Your batch is challenged by unforeseen ways, so you have to work hard through some unique circumstances. Kayo po yung batch na di pumasok sa paaralan sa loob ng 1 taon. Sa halip ay nag-aral kayo sa inyong kanya-kanyang tahanan, bahay, dahil sa pandemya. You face your studies during this difficult global crisis. And it is through the support and guidance of your teachers, parents, or guardians, as well as your siblings, that this was realized. This is also a manifestation that education must continue amidst all these challenges that we are experiencing. This is also a reflection and realization of our theme for this year, which is strengthening the quality of education amid COVID-19 pandemic. My dear graduates, you just have hurdled another significant milestone in your life. I hope that you will not stop in your quest for knowledge, wisdom, and excellence as you continue your journey towards your success. Remember that in life, we all go through difficulties, problems, and challenges. But these are lessons that will make us stronger and wiser in our life going forward. You must know how to adapt to unexpected changes. You must know how to work and learn remotely. You must know how to manage your time, how to cherish moment with your family, and must know how to learn new life skills. Napaka-importante po yan. And how to become more resilient. And of course, you must know how to learn the importance of community and the importance of giving back. So, to all parents and guardians who unselfishly provided the necessary assistance and support to our learners, accept my appreciation and gratitude. Indeed, you have done an incredible and extraordinary effort. Likewise, I salute all school officials, teachers, and staff of Bautista Central School for providing genuine service to our learners. I would like to express also my thanks and appreciation and gratitude to all education stakeholders of Bautista Central School for continuously supporting all its programs and projects. Truly, we have shown that education is a shared responsibility. Congratulations to all graduates. Have a safe, wonderful, and meaningful celebration.
Thank you, sir, for taking the time and inspiring our graduates.
As the ceremony will soon end, may we listen to Honorable Barangay Captain Rolando C. Viloria Jr. for his closing remarks.
Up next is the graduation song entitled Journey through a video presentation.
Half the world sleeping, half the world so a journey it has been. Forward, always forward. Onward, always up. Catching every drop of hope in my empty cup. What a journey it has been, and the end is not in sight. But the stars are out tonight, and they're bound to guide my way. When they're shining on my life, I can see a better day. I won't let the darkness in. What a journey it has been. What a journey it has been.
First and foremost, I would like to thank teachers and administrators with all the sincerity for their invaluable contribution and work during the pandemic. Thank you for remaining focused on providing the best for our students throughout the most formidable year. And once again, congratulations to the class of 2021. It is time to bid farewell and for you to take a next big step in life with your newfound strength and perseverance. We wish you all the best and hope you prosper in your future endeavors.
As stated in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31, they will soar on wings like eagles. May the Lord help us dispel any form of anxiety in our hearts and keep us safe in the midst of this pandemic. Sa inyo pong lahat, marami pong salamat. Congratulations, graduates, and to your proud parents. Go forth, grow, and be successful. This is Karen Mendoza,
And Francis Ocampo,
your Masters of Ceremony. We hope you all have a wonderful day, and God bless.
Thank you.